Okay, so Pemo here, I'm going to just show you briefly how to put a polyurethane bush into an arm the right way in a fairly easy manner by just using a bench vise. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you never grease the outside of this. The grease that they give you with these bushes is purely to go in the bore of the bush in here, on the outside of the sleeve and on the edges of the bush and the outside of the flanges to allow it to slip inside the arm. What we're going to use to get it in the arm is just a little bit of fairy liquid, or any proprietary dishwasher detergent will do, and that'll give us a little bit of lube just to help us squeeze everything together here. I'm going to pop it in the vise and we'll push it in, so let's give this a little try. So a little bit of the old fairy liquid juice on here. Just briefly before we start, I want to make you aware as I'm putting this in here, I've given all this a nice sanding in here to clean it all up. Make sure the surface is as good as we can have it before we put the bush in. We don't want to put a nice new bush in a rusty arm. Right then, okay, so line it all up in the vise as best we can. Might take a couple of attempts to get this in, because I'm doing it on what I could do with a helper, but my camera lady's busy right now, so we'll see how we go here. So I'm just going to go slowly at first, and I'm just going to apply pressure gently, watching what's happening, and at a certain point it will either pop out like so, or it will start to pop in. So we'll try it again and get it lined up again. It came up there, so I'm going to push it down a little bit and I'm going to keep pushing in. This is looking good this time. Keep going with that one. There we go, she's gone in. Right, all we need to do now is just tighten her up. We'll put an extra bit of force and we'll take it right up to butt up that flange, and as we remove it from the vise, this side will pop through. Bob's your uncle. There we go. So we just take this now and we'll give it a little wipe down to clean it off, because you don't want any fairy liquid really on the edges or in the bore. And then we'll get our superflex polyurethane special lube. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a wee bit on my finger and just run it. Actually, let's put it directly onto the collar, or the bearing of the bush, whatever you want to call it. Give a good old rub round. I'll just pop that there so it doesn't get a grit on it. We'll do the same thing on the edge, outside edge here, and we'll run our fingers around there in the bore. And then this couldn't be simpler. You literally just take both of these and squish them together in the vise. So we'll open up the vise a bit further this time. Excuse the old knackered vise, but she's been good to me over the years. Is that enough? Yeah, that's plenty. Right, so we just square this up as best we can by eye. It's actually surprisingly easy to do this. I did my first ever one earlier on today, and it went in without a hitch. So just make sure we're as square as we can be. Keep the arm tight in your hand and shove her in. There she goes, she's popped in. So we'll just drive her all the rest of the way in, and she won't go all the way in because the vise will bite on both sides of the bush, so we don't want to squeeze like crazy. We just get it as far as we can go, and what you'll notice is it's sort of flush with this side here, but protruding a wee bit here. So what I did earlier, and what I should suggest, is just give it a very light tap with the hammer, just to square her off. I'll give it a little wipe off so we get all my mucky finger juice off of there. And then when we go in the car, we'll put a bit of this lube on the outsides just to give it a bit of extra lubrication.